Coincidences still remain. Again, whether it's yours or not, the contention, your blood at the crime scene, your blood, coincidence, here at Rockingham, found the same night of that the crime happened, and in the Bronco.
Well, if in fact that was my blood here at the home, if in fact it was, I don't find that to be such a coincidence.
Was it?
I don't think so, but I don't find that to be a coincidence. How did it get here?
Whose blood was it here at Rockingham?
If in fact it was mine, I live here at Rockingham. I think you're going to be surprised at how little blood is involved in this bloody home that I hear. It's
there were drops of blood.
Drops of blood on the driveway. Yeah. If in fact it happened, if in fact I deposited it, it would have not been, certainly not after leaving Nicole's house, because I hadn't been in Nicole's house, and maybe when I was running around, I really had absolutely no answer for that. I personally, I am very skeptical about whose blood that was.
Chase, what do you got?
But right away, we see a chin drop, just a small amount during this, when the question is revealed, the topic of the question, and then how did it get here? And right there, he kind of moves to a potentially visual accessing. So maybe picturing what's going on there. And when he's saying, I live here at Rockingham, there's some fading facts, which I hope Scott talks about when his volume goes way down right there. He almost says after leaving Nicole's house right there. And there is a big eyebrow flash right there. And there's some narrowing of the eyes to kind of bring the interviewer into focus to ensure that he can continue without worrying about this lapse in his speech. And the last thing here, I think when he says, if in fact I deposited it, I think that's an interesting word choice. And I think he's carried a very litigious mentality from court, and he's learned a lot of these words doing this. And this also starts a trend here of unusual eye accessing, maybe for him, where he goes to 9 o'clock. So if this is your first video watching this, he's going to your 9 o'clock as you're looking at the screen. This might be his baseline. So let's keep an eye out, no pun intended, in the next few videos to see where his eye home is. Where does he normally go to access truthful memories? So let's take a look at that. And maybe this changes based on the type of information that he's recalling. But I think what you're going to see in the next few videos is pretty interesting when it comes to eyes. Greg?
Yeah, so let's talk about eye movement just for a minute. What you're going to find in him is this is a great study in eye movement. He doesn't have a single place his eyes go for information. And this guy asks some great questions. And what happens is when he asks those questions, he locks down a visual accessing cue, and it's a beautiful one. We'll see it later. We'll also see auditory accessing cues, and then we'll see him conjecturing. It's a beautiful thing. He's about like most of the NLP stuff teaches. So it'll be an interesting one for you to watch because he gets him narrowly focused. But in the beginning, he purses his lips, and you see that and you're thinking, what's going on with that exactly? At coincidence, when he says coincidences, his blink rate goes through the roof. Not talking about flutter or processor speed. I'm talking about blink rate because he's prepared for it. His lips get tightly held, and then he starts milling his jaw as his chin drops, as you pointed out, Scott, or Chase. Then he does riveted eye contact, what Scott and I have called in the True Crime Workshop, the romancer. He makes riveted eye contact. He does that one shoulder shrug and breaks eye contact away from the camera and then back to it. If you watch him, he's turtling. He's shrinking the target or turtling, making his body smaller and minimizing. When he says, if in fact, I love this because he is reframing the question and he is taking it away from coincidence. Then he feigns confusion at how it got there. Then you do see processor speed flutters. He's trying to figure out what to say. Back to straight, hard eye contact and browbeating as he shows irritation. You can't miss that jaw. This doesn't mean that he killed his wife. This means something, but it could mean simply he's fed up with answering the questions. It's funny, I chose that word in my very first video and he uses that word later. But he rambles and uses distancing language, I personally, as he distances from the actual act. This gone is the concise OJ about why he's doing this, the friendly OJ about what happened. We're in a different place. Scott, what do you got?
He never says, I don't know. He never answers the question. And we see this Showtime OJ start melting away all this shininess starts going away as the questions start. And this is a great place to start because this is where he starts using, like Chase brought up, language, what we call fading facts, where he talks about Rockingham. He says Rockingham. He almost whispers it. He's trying to distance himself with the language away from everything there. This house that did this. I was here at Rockingham. Everything is just distance from him. So he's trying to psychologically separate himself from that situation. At the top, we see that lip compression, so we know he's getting ready for something. Obviously, when you get asked questions like this, you're going to think about what's coming up. You've got to be on the ball. So that's one of the things we're seeing in that lip compression where he's prepping, in other words. Not that he's trying to hold anything back, but he's like, okay, here we go. That's what that's about. When he talks about, I think he accidentally says that he was over at Nicole's house. So you're right, Chase, when he's talking about that. I think he lets that slip. Wouldn't happen over at her house before I go here. I think that's the first part in this group of videos we're going to watch where he sort of slips up and starts telling us what happened or where he was at that time. Even though he's been over it a lot and he's been through witness preparation, and you can tell by the way he acts and the way he talks, there are things we use and we're seeing him in there. So that's fairly obvious. But the shine is starting to come off of it right out of the gate in that second question there. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, so where is the calm, assertive gentleman that we had before? He's started to drift away, if not, completely disappeared, even this quickly on. Breathing rate is significantly up. So look at that video. Go back and look at that baseline as well. Check out where the top of the chest is going. Count the numbers there. Notice the difference. Head down and aggressive now. Eyes more locked, more targeted. So there's more aggression in there within the meat of what he's doing, not within the framework. So remember, in the baseline, he comes in quite aggressive, but then calms down. Here, he's more aggressive within the meat of the content. This is some nice eye stuff that I noticed there, which is the eyes are kind of micro looking at the examiner. They're trying to look at nose and eyes and lips and work out what is this person thinking and feeling. You can see his conscious and unconscious mind trying to track the emotions of the interviewer, the examiner. And so that's a really clear indicator that he's under stress and pressure and he wants to know what's going on here. So hypervigilant at the moment. Again, he wasn't hypervigilant before, in way more command of it. And I don't think so. That single shoulder shrug, that suggests to me that he's unsure whether he doesn't think so. He maybe thinks so. That's all I got on that one.
But the coincidences still remain. Again, whether it's yours or not, the contention, your blood at the crime scene, your blood, coincidence, here at Rockingham, found the same night of that the crime happened, and in the Bronco.
Well, if in fact that was my blood here at the home, if in fact it was, I don't find that to be such a coincidence.
Was it?
I don't think so, but I don't find that to be a coincidence. How did it get here?
Whose blood was it here at Rockingham?
If in fact it was mine, I live here at Rockingham. I think you're going to be surprised at how little blood is involved in this bloody home that I hear. It's
there were drops of blood.
Drops of blood on the driveway. Yeah. If in fact it happened, if in fact I deposited it, it would have not been, certainly not after leaving Nicole's house, because I hadn't been in Nicole's house, and maybe when I was running around, I really had absolutely no answer for that. I personally am very skeptical about whose blood that was.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.